So be it artificial intelligence summit, be it military hardware, be it talking about innovation, and be it talking about joint development, co-R&D at the level of universities, India and France should be together, and then joint manufacturing for both the countries and for export. So there's lots that's on the agenda and has been in the strategic partnership. Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor is former Director General of Inspection and Safety. He joins me on this special broadcast. Also privileged as always to have Group Captain MJ Vinod Augustine, former fighter pilot and a drone expert, joining us on this special broadcast. Air Marshal Kapoor, for a moment, before we come to Yalahanka and what's happening at the Aero show, I want to talk about artificial intelligence and the Prime Minister's visit to France. AI central to our lives. What about military warfare and its cutting edge being a force multiplier? What do you make of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to France and co-chairing the AI summit, sir?
Yeah, I heard your discussion before this. More than artificial intelligence, this visit is so important that he wants to capsulate the tech expertise which the France has. It includes nuclear also.
Yes.
If you recall, when European Union was collecting, a lot of European countries did away with the nuclear power stations, including Germany, Belgium, and others. But France retained. Now, with artificial intelligence link, there's going to be a massive requirement for creating the GPUs, the energy sources, which will require all the storage. So, combined with it, and the AI usage has been seen to a great extent in both Israel, Hamas, and Iran conflict, and also in Russia, Ukraine. And we always thought the wars are going to be short and swift. But both these conflicts have told us that it could prolong for a long period. So if you have to push your forces to be on the battlefield for years together, we obviously need some sort of an artificial intelligence combined with our weaponry.
Group Captain Vinod, artificial intelligence in UCAVs, and is that the future of warfare? The unmanned combat aerial vehicles, for example, autonomous missions seek, identify and destroy the enemy's vital assets and points without risking lives of own pilots and evading the enemy's countermeasures. Is AI completely changing the nature of warfare, and is that why India being on that global high table remains extremely important?
Very important question, Gaurav. And I'm so fortunate to be here with the Air Marshal, sitting here and talking about AI. And probably, Gaurav, you're not aware, I have a startup called Rushi.
Yes.
Rushi is Krushi plus Hriday. So combined together is Rushi. It operates out of Wyoming. Our major work in that startup is an tech startup focusing on AI. When Radha Mohan Singh ji was the Agriculture and Farmer Welfare Minister, I happened to talk to him in his house on the dining table. Then he called all the agricultural commissioners in the agri ministry. I spoke to all of them, and how I said AI can be utilized in agriculture. I had the opportunity of doing that thanks to my startup. When Air Marshal Kapoor was the DG Inspection and Flight Safety, in his office, his last few months in his office, we talked about how AI can be utilized not only for warfare, but also for flight safety. Finding out where the birds are and how you can prosecute them so that you don't have bird hits during landing. Now, let's come to the five-fold objective of Modi ji's visit. Not Modi ji's visit, this particular AI Action Summit, summit itself. First and foremost, is public interest in AI is really sparked post-ChatGPT. Future of AI work, innovation and culture, up to this point is okay.
Yes.
Last 2 points are very important, about which Modi ji also talked about deepfake, if you remember.
Yes.
Is trust in AI. This trust in AI is a double-edged sword. A lot of things needs to be discussed under that theme of trust in AI, and finally something called global AI governance. This global AI governance is not AI for governance; it is governance of AI. So
yes.
these two things are very, very important. Coming to your specific question about AI in warfare, if you remember that movie Terminator, I really fear and feel the age of machine is here. This is start of new things. And if this summit and summits now onwards do not address this issue, Gaurav, human brains does not have the capability what an AI has. We recently developed a particular module, gave it to Ministry of Home, where over 10,000 vehicles, less than 1 second, you could identify a particular vehicle, tag them, also identify how that particular vehicle is interacting with other vehicles in that area over various videos. Is it humanly possible to do that? It is
And
not.
that
That is
clearly
how.
shows in every aspect, and that is why we need to be on top of the game. But for a moment, I want to shift focus, and I want to keep the focus strictly on military hardware, because that is where, especially with a country like China, which is actually soaring ahead, how much do we have to catch up? Air Marshal Kapoor, let's take a look at the Aero India show at Yelahanka. The Americans are bringing in their F-35s. The Russians have their Su-57s. The Chinese very recently, they displayed their 6th generation fighters. We have 2 chiefs who fly on board a Tejas, with the air chief flying the Tejas. Now, that's great on Josh, but isn't it time that we need to move way, way beyond symbolism in the real world?
Absolutely. And this has been covered time and again for last many weeks, ever since the air chief made the statement in Subrata Hall. The catch-up is going to be difficult. It is a policy decision which the government will have to take. You may like to copy the C295 model, wherein the transfer of technology take place to catch up in the deficiency of our squadrons. You may have this visit of Prime Minister to France, in my opinion, at some stage would be discussing these issues.
Yes.
Because the manufacturing of aero engines is the most complex part. Not more than 4 to 5 countries globally manufacture aircraft engines, and fighter engines, but of course, are very handful of these countries. They don't want to part with the technology. We don't have the metallurgy. We don't have the equipment to design and manufacture. See, when the LCA project came up, the designing was done by ADA. The manufacturing was to be done by HE.
You know, I want to stay on the current issue. You're absolutely right on the genesis of the problem. But Group Captain Vinod, China showed images of its 6th generation fighter jet, the Stealth. Russians and the US are showcasing Su-57s and F-35s. Our Tejas induction that Air Marshal Kapoor talks about, induction that started in 2016, 10 years, we still don't have the first 40. Before we move on, briefly, listen into the Air Chief. Listen in to Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh talking about how huge the crisis that India faces is. Listen in.
Tejas, we started inducting in 2016. 2016. Actually, we should go back to 1984 when we conceived that aircraft. First aircraft flew in 2001, 17 years. Then the induction started another 15 years later, 2016. Today we are in 2024. I do not have the first 40 aircraft also. So this is the production capability. We need to do something. And I am very convinced that we need to get some private players in. We need to have competition. We need to have multiple sources available so that people are wary of losing their orders, that we may not get the next order. Otherwise, things will not change.
Air Marshal Kapoor, Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense, it's a cherished goal, it's a desired goal, but given our depleting squadron strength and given China's numbers, so where do we have our 4 squadrons of LCA Mark 1A, 4 squadrons of LCA Mark 2, our AMCAR advanced medium combat aircraft? That's still a mock-up at Yelahanka. So 6 squadrons of AMCAR may be a pipe dream. So what's the solution as the squadron strength depletes?
I was coming to that in my last discussion. The problem is Aero engine. We developed Kaveri. It was developed by DRDO. the reheat part of this engine did not take off. So there again, HAL also had to start looking for some engine which could fit into this airframe, and then we reached this American 404 and 414. By the way, 414 is designated to be fitted in Mark IIs and also in AMCA.
Yes.
But the whole problem is we are dependent on a foreign company to give us these engines. Till our nation decides to manufacture own aero engines, for which France is one country. I just tweeted this morning that amongst the NATO countries, the country which could collaborate the best with India today is France. And if this visit of Prime Minister Modi to France, in some way is able to convince the leadership there to come and set up the manufacturing of the aero engines, be it Dassault, be it Safran, be it any of those big, because we have operating Mirage 2000, Jaguars, and all the other airplanes which you just mentioned. If the production line for the aero engines could come, and in the meanwhile, while this is set, we could procure the tested Rafales, which India has already taken from them, and cover up this gap, and then work. Parallelly in Aero India, like you mentioned, both F-35, which has proven itself in Israel conflict now, and also Su-57s, which have taken part in Hawaii Air Show. I saw the videos of the November Air Show in China. And also there are talks of this aircraft participating in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So both of these are proven platforms. Both of these are, the only issue is which country is going to hold your hand to part.
And that very clearly, as we've seen, is easier said than done, and we'll be tracking the story very, very closely. Group Captain Vinod and Air Marshal Kapoor for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. The Prime Minister's visit both to France and to the United States of America, extremely, extremely crucial, even when it comes to national security, and we'll be tracking